Okay, I know we said it in announcements earlier, but for the sake of the video, I just want to tell everyone watching out there, we are going to have our in-person services at the Zen Bar in Sherman, Texas on September 15th. So 2 Sundays from now, be the same time. We'll start at 10:30. Doors will be open. We'll be all set up and ready to go by 10. So if you want to show up a little bit early, that's great. Come in and talk to us and sit down, just enjoy each other. So that's September 15th, 2 weeks from today, 10:30 at the Zen Bar in Sherman, Texas. So, hope you can join us. So today we're talking about enlightenment. Some of you may say, well, what is that? Some of you may think you know what it is. And if you look it up in Webster's, you're going to get several different definitions. One of the definitions is the state of being enlightened. Well, that didn't help. You know, don't use the same word to define something. Anyway, the state of being enlightened. A philosophical movement that began in the 1800s. I didn't realize that movement started that long ago, but it did. Buddhism defines it as a final blessed state marked by the absence of desire or suffering. And then probably the best definition that I have found, in my opinion, my humble opinion, and you can agree with me or not, or you can be wrong, doesn't matter. I'm kidding. Enlightened is defined as freedom from ignorance and misinformation. I love that one. All right, so in other words, enlightenment is knowing truth. Not truth as defined by this material world, not truth as defined by our belief system that have been based on the past, that may even have worked for us at one time, but might not work for us anymore. This is the truth, one truth, divine truth. The Buddhist definition refers to the absence of desire or suffering. When desire and suffering are seen as opposite ends of the spectrum, they don't serve our truth. They don't serve our well-being. In this Buddhist definition, the absence of both simply means we're at peace. We're content. We don't see anything that we need to gain. We don't see anything that we need to be rid of. We're there. Now, some people look at that and go, well, if I'm not gaining, if I'm not moving forward, then I'm dead. How cool would it be to be content with where you are? That does not mean you can't expand your experience of life. But can you be content with where you are right this moment? Knowing that since God is infinite, since you're an expression of God, your experience is also infinite. You're not ever going to stand still. It's absolutely impossible. In our book study last week, we talked about desire a little bit. And my thoughts on desire, and this is not based on anything other than my path. So I'm not going to say this was an expert that said it, unless you consider me an expert, and if so, thank you. If desire is an action with the intent to fill a feeling of lack, we disservice ourselves by desiring. If desire is a knowing that there is further expansion of truth and experience, it does serve us. So we can be content where we are and still desire a deeper knowledge, a greater understanding. Because when we're content, we don't see lack. It's not like we're chasing something we don't already have. Because you already have everything you need. You're part of one mind. So you already know everything. It's just you got to uncover it. You got to allow yourself to know. You got to allow yourself to be. We must never allow desire to be a wanting. Because a wanting only attracts more of that which we think is missing. Enlightenment is freedom from ignorance. It's freedom from misinformation. Remember, ignorance is not stupidity. Don't go there. Ignorance is not stupidity. I know as kids we often called people ignorant, thinking we were calling them stupid. You know, just being mean, joking, whatever the case may be. Ignorance is simply the lack of knowledge. So if you have a lack of knowledge about where you are in your relationship with the divine, you can choose not to be ignorant anymore. You can start opening up awareness, changing your beliefs. It's simply not knowing. Being enlightened, we are aware of conscious truth. We are mindful of truth. In this awareness, ignorance is healed. Because as we become more mindful of truth, the ignorance of truth fades away. And again, do not ever consider yourself stupid or dumb or slow or anything like that, because you don't have the answers you think you need. It's simply ignorance is not knowing. So if you feel that way, then learn. Open your mind, read, do whatever needs to happen, talk to someone. But don't ever call yourself stupid. Everyone on this planet, some of you are going to go, no way. Everyone on this planet is seeking enlightenment. Everyone that has ever walked this planet sought enlightenment. Now, they may have a different definition than we did. They may have gone about it different ways than we do. But the truth is that everyone is seeking enlightenment. That absolute, perfect definition of enlightenment, whatever that is. The way I know this is because we are all spiritual beings. We have all experienced enlightenment. We already have. There's some research out there, and it's presented in a book called How Enlightenment Changes Your Brain. And it actually changes the neural pathways, and as you become more enlightened, thoughts actually move around your brain in different ways. But we're not going to get into all that. It is said in this research, your quest to discover personal or spiritual truth is enlightenment. That's the path to enlightenment. This quest is already hardwired in your brain. So we experienced it on the spiritual level before we became human and got to experience the material world. So we already have that within us. And that spark of enlightenment is constantly inviting us, come back, come back, come back. It's already within. I read a quote many years ago that said, growing up is the process of unlearning. I truly believe that's the case when it comes to spiritual enlightenment. Because if you think of it as kids, man, there was no stopping you. You had an imagination as big as the world. You were not scared of anything. You were just out to have a good time and enjoy life. Everything was beautiful. And then as we get older, under the guise of growing up and adulting, we don't do that so much anymore. We take on fear. We take on, well, I've got to be an adult, so I've got to look at things this way. No, you don't. No, we don't. Growing up is the process of unlearning. And that spark within us keeps telling us, maybe I'm learning the wrong direction. Maybe I'm not looking the right ways. Maybe something more is to be had. One of the other things, besides that spark that's inviting us to continually look back to enlightenment, and one of the reasons we get messed up in our journey to on this search for enlightenment is we see other people having experiences of enlightenment, of joy, of love. And when we see that happen in somebody else, whether it be a reading about Jesus the Christ, or whether it be a good friend just had a great experience, or whatever it may be, when we see something like that, it sparks the memory in us of that moment that we had before we unlearned enlightenment. It's still there. It's still within. We've just covered it up all this time, but seeing it out there reminds us. It's like, oh, yeah, I can have that too. But the way this messes us up is we think that it's out there. We saw it out there, so it's got to be out there, so we got to keep looking out there. And so our journey keeps, okay, we've got to have this new thing that's going to help us get to enlightenment. If I have the right car, I can get to enlightenment. If I'm with the right person, I can get to enlightenment. If I read the right books, I can get to enlightenment. If I have the right aha moment in an experience, I can get to enlightenment. We're looking out there. We'll never find it out there. As with anything real, it's within us. So we've got to turn back within. Let that stuff out there remind us. Let it be an invitation to, oh yeah, you've had that experience before. Find it again. Let it be that reminder. That's fine. But you're going to find it within. There are no guarantees that any one exercise can offer you that'll take you back. I mean, there's not a particular meditation that's going to take you to enlightenment. There's not a particular prayer that'll take you to enlightenment. There's not any one book that will take you to enlightenment. It may get you close. It may open your awareness to it. But the journey is not in that stuff. It's within you. It's how do you use these things to help you get there. And we're going to get to that in a moment. The key thing, the one thing that I can guarantee will change things for you, that will allow you to begin your journey in the right direction, is to tune into your thoughts. Man, we go here a lot. Tune into your thoughts. Be sure your thoughts are aligned with truth. What is truth? God. What is God? Love. If your thoughts are not aligned with love, God, truth, they're not aimed in the right direction. So get them aligned. There are 5 steps that have been proven to assist in this journey. It'll speed up your journey to greater awareness of enlightenment within you. And these 5 steps are: 1, you must genuinely desire enlightenment. You must tune into what enlightenment means for you. If it's just you want a little feel-good moment, you can find that out there. Some people use the right pill. They find it. They use the right drink. They find it. The right person. They find it. You can find a nice moment out there. But if you are truly looking for enlightenment, truth within you, and let that be your experience, then you're on the right track. You've taken the first step. It's not something you just go, you know, I think that would be really, really nice. And it'll come to me if I just wait on it long enough. It's up to you. Choose it. Know that that's what you want. Consider your belief system. Sometimes your beliefs are based on something that worked for you before that no longer serves you. A lot of the beliefs that we have are things that we adopted because somebody else said, this is something you should believe. And it never served you. We've got to check in. Look at our thoughts, look at our beliefs, align those thoughts and beliefs with truth. If they're not aligned with truth, let them go. That's first step. Know that's what you really want. Start aligning thoughts with it. Second step, prepare yourself by engaging in gentle relaxation and awareness exercises. So this is kind of like step one, part B. Because you're already going to be tuning into your thoughts and your belief system. This is just another way to do that. Tune in, but do it gently. I remember one time, I don't remember what the belief was right now, but there was a belief that I had at one time that I realized all of a sudden it never was true for me. It was something that I learned from, I think it was my mother. And while it was true for her at one point, I don't know if it still is or not, while it was true for her, it never was true for me. It was all wrapped around the phone. Okay? It's as deep as we'll go into that right now. I kicked myself in the hind end over and over and over and over again for adopting that belief system. And in all honesty, I still kind of have it. But it's neither here nor there. I beat myself up. That did no service. When you find one of those beliefs, those thoughts that do not serve you, kindly, gently release them. Become aware of it. Open awareness to it. If your thoughts and beliefs do not align with truth, love, peace, and good, they do not serve you and they stand in the way of your journey to enlightenment. Okay? Third step. And this is the tough one for some people. You'll need to engage in a conscious ritual. Okay? This conscious ritual is something, anything, that interrupts your old habitual thought process, belief process, or even a physical material habit that you have. It opens you to a consciousness beyond your everyday consciousness. This ritual could be anything from a new kind of prayer to setting intentions and affirmations and speaking them aloud. It could be mirror work, speaking truth about you as you're looking into your eyes in the mirror. It could be chanting. It could be movement of some. It can be anything that's out of the ordinary for you. Anything that allows you to shift your consciousness. You're going to do this. You're going to continue these rituals until you feel that shift. Until you feel yourself opening more fully to the truth of God within you. Okay? The next step. Completely surrender all your thoughts, all your beliefs over to thoughts and beliefs that align with truth. This is going to require some deep stuff here. This is going to require you to let go of a belief that this physical body has power over you. A lot of other things you have to let go of. That's the one that's going to be toughest to let go of because that's the one that I'm having a real hard time letting go of. This physical body has no power over my truth, over my spiritual truth. My spiritual truth is me. This body's just a vessel. I've got to let go of every belief that this physical body has power over me and open to truth. And when I do that, I'm opening up further, a greater awareness, a deeper consciousness of enlightenment. I get closer to that state that the Buddhists talk about. No desire, no suffering. After you've done this, you're ready to move on to the fifth step. And this is setting aside 10 to 20 minutes to just sit silently, to go into stillness, inviting insights to flow into your heightened state of awareness. Because that's all these first 4 steps are, is opening you to a higher state of awareness, a deeper consciousness. When you do this, when you go into this stillness, do not carry with you any expectations of what's going to happen. We often go, okay, man, I did all this work. That means that my 10 to 20 minutes is going to be filled with... No. Do not go into it with any expectations, because any expectations you have will limit your experience. Nothing that you can imagine taking in there and receiving from this experience is going to equal what you actually get. So just to allow it to come to you. Desire, prepare, engage, surrender, reflect. These are the 5 basic steps that will prime your brain for enlightenment. Now there's one more thing to do. Share your experience with others. This does not mean that you have to go out, find a stranger, grab hold of them and say, guess what I just experienced? That's not what we're talking about. You don't even have to do that to your best friend or your partner. What I'm talking about in sharing your experience, you allow this new experience, this new enlightenment to guide your expression and your experience of life. As you're expressing, people feel it. And remember what we talked about earlier? When you see somebody else have a wonderful experience and you're reminded of a time that you had it, which invites you to go deeper into your enlightenment, that's what's happening. As you express, they feel, they're reminded, and they may just start a journey of their own or expand the journey they're already on. As you expand awareness of your own enlightenment, let your expression into life assist in bringing enlightenment into everyone else's life. Think about what it would be like to have an enlightened world to live in. Let's close with prayer. Father God, knowing enlightenment is divine wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge, and knowing that these were all infinite, we recognize that this is divine mind, and it is everywhere present. We know this to mean within us as well. Open our minds and hearts to expand our understanding of divine mind within, that we may be enlightened more fully, more deeply, more completely. Open our minds and hearts to more fully understand the wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge that is already within us, available to us always. We are so grateful that this divine mind is within. Our prayer is that we remember this precious gift, that we expand our awareness, our consciousness, our enlightenment, that we may more fully use it in our lives. We embrace divine mind. We express divine mind. For all this and more, we truly are grateful. And so it is. Amen.